So what we're going to start working on is writing our own equations.
Oh, we don't need this.
Nope, you are just going to take notes on this piece of paper. So writing our own equations. So a couple of things we first need to clarify. Okay guys, time to go. Listen please. So first thing we need to come up with are what are some words that tell you to do the following operations. So what are some words that mean add besides add? Plus, okay. Add is like short for addition, so I'm not going to write that one down, but it's okay. I'll write addition. That's the one the big one that I was looking for. Sum. Are there any others that you think mean addition?
Addition.
Okay, I wrote down addition. Not compare. Sum. Okay, another one that's really important is increased. Well, good, then let's say it. Okay, what are some words that mean subtraction? Difference, that's the big one that you're going to see a lot. Difference. Okay, yeah, I got minus.
Decrease.
Exactly, opposite, so decrease. There's a lot of words that start with D that mean subtracts. Difference, decrease. Amber? Subtraction. Okay, whatever. Close enough. Okay, subtraction. There's another one that starts with D. Diminish. Diminish. Are there any others that you can think of?
It smells like flowers. Now it's like irritating my nose.
Also, less than.
Oh, add. There's more than.
Which makes me think, yeah, we need to add more than for addition. Okay, now let's figure out what are some words that mean multiply.
Times.
Product. Times. Multiplication. Can you think of any others that mean multiplication? Each, I think, does work because that's telling you to multiply, yeah. And then there's some kind of like special ones, okay? Twice means what? That tells you to multiply by 2. Double also means to multiply by 2. Triple, and that's times 3. And another one that's kind of important that you know is half. What do you... Multiply by half is, it can be division, but it's also times 1/2. So remember, multiplication and division are kind of interchangeable based on where you put it. Okay? Now, what are some words that mean divide? So unoriginal. Division, thank you. That's the one that we're looking for. Quotient.
I don't like that word.
You don't like the word quotient?
I think it's weird.
Sorry about that. Divided by. Okay, half can also be in here, and that would mean divided by 2. Okay, so half dividing or multiplying by the reciprocal is actually the same thing. So dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. Say it again. Reciprocal is, that's more of a, like it's a fraction flip. So it's, I see where you're going, but not quite. Okay, and then the last thing I want to go over are different words that mean use exponents. Okay, are there any that you can think of that mean use exponents? Okay, besides exponent, yes. Power. Power is definitely one. Square. And square is a specific one. That means to the power of what? power of 2. So I'm going to write like square, so I'm going to write like x to the second power. And then cube is power of what?
3.
Power of 3. Okay. So before we can write our sentences, we have to know what some words mean, obviously. Okay. So there's going to be a couple of sentences that we're gonna practice writing. Okay. The first one is the product of a number and 4 increased by 16 is 34. Biggest thing here that you need to make sure that you know is, what does the word is mean in an equation? Nope. The word is actually means equals. Okay? So when we're writing our equation, you need to know that the word is means equals. So we're obviously going to have an is. 34 is on the right side of my equation. What does the word product mean? Product means multiply. A number. Okay? What do I need to use for a number? A variable, right? You can pick whatever type of variable you want. Some people always use x. Some people always use n for number. Does not matter. Would you guys prefer to use n or x?
N.
Okay, raise your hand for n.
Let's hit R.
Raise your hand for x. We're using x, sorry. Okay, so the product of a number, so x and 4, so that means x times 4, increased by means what? Plus, so x times 4 plus 16, sorry, I should have written it down here. X times 4 plus 16 equals 34. What's wrong with the way that looks? It looks weird. Why does it look weird? Which part looks weird? The x and the 4. Can you rewrite that to make it look better? How would you rewrite that?
4x.
4x plus 16 equals 34. Now, I'm not asking you to solve on this. I just want you to write the equation. That's your equation. Perfect. Okay, so we're just translating. Sometimes we're going to ask you to translate and solve. This one, I just want translate. That's it. Okay, next one. The difference. So what does difference mean? Subtract. Difference between 1/3. So if it says 1/3, that means I'm going to do what with the 1/3? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide?
Multiply.
1/3 means multiply. Difference between 1/3 of a number, so we said our number was x, and 4 is means equals. So let's actually write our equation. The difference between 1/3 of a number, so where do you think the 1/3 and the number goes? In front or after the negative?
Front.
It actually has to go in, okay, if you wrote it after, it'd be 1/3 of a number and 4. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, we have to put the minus in between them. So you always write them in order of your sentence. So since the 1/3 of a number is first, then it's the and, we put the minus right there. Okay, or excuse me, then it's the 4, so we always put the minus in between them. Is means equals, and negative 92. That's how we write that equation. And that's it. Have you guys done writing equations with the words before? Did you guys do that in Math 7 or 7th grade math? Long time ago, maybe? Okay. Some of you guys sound like you may have, and some of you may have not. So if we need to, we can always do more practice on this. But there is a couple of questions like this on your quiz. It's science. Great. Next one. Okay, I wrote out these word problems for you on purpose so that you didn't have to write all the words. So it says Sam has saved $120 to spend on a new badminton racket and lessons. The racket costs $45 and each lesson costs $15. Use the variable h to write an equation, sorry, typo, and solve to find out how many hours of lessons she can afford. How would I write this equation? Say it again. No, I didn't. How do you spell it? No, it's not.
It's spelled like not like a tennis racket is with a Q.
Like a tennis racket is with a Q. Yeah. This means, okay, because we talked about this earlier. The this is not important to math.
Why is your finger wrapped up in a rubber band?
Because that's my hair tie that I just took out. Okay, racket like this. Is that what you're talking about? That is like,
The racket upstairs.
yeah, like the racket upstairs. Like the mirror making a big noise and stuff. Like, oh, there's a racket upstairs. That's that kind. I know. We had a discussion about this. We decided, we looked it up. Megan Googled it. It's the cute one. But thank you. If you play badminton, now you know that you use that kind of racket, not that kind. Not the kind that's upstairs. But thank you for attempting to help me. Okay, Sam saved $120. So $120 is what she saved. That is equal to, the racket was 45. Okay, so 45. Is she going to add to that 45? Or what are we doing with those lessons? Would you have to add or subtract or add? And each lesson. So how would you write each lesson? 15 times H for your lessons. So $120 is how much she has. You know she's going to spend $45 plus 15 times each hour-long lesson. How can we solve this? So on like a test or a quiz, this would be the A portion, and the B portion would be to solve. I didn't type that part out, but these are like a two-part question. How would you solve that? This is kind of like the questions we solved yesterday. Yes?
You would subtract 45.
Starting, we would subtract 45 from both sides. You subtract 45, do your borrowing and carrying. 120 minus 45 gives me what? Hello? 75. Then how do I get H by itself? Divide both sides by 15. And how many 15s go into 75? 5. Would it make sense if you got a negative answer here?
No.
No, you can't have negative amount of lessons. Would it make sense if you got a fraction here or a decimal? No, that doesn't make any sense, okay? So how many lessons can she afford? 5 hours of lessons. Okay, any questions so far? You good, Amber? Okay. You're good. We're good. Good? Okay. Next one for number 4. It says Chris, Ben, and Kylie order a large pizza for $11.99, breadsticks for $2.99, and wings for $5.99. If the 3 friends agree to split the cost evenly, how much will each friend have to pay? How would you do that? Court? Exactly, right? Add up all the prices and divide it evenly. So if we add up all the prices, $11.99 plus $2.99 plus $5.99. Now, did I write this in a form that's really going to work for adding? No. Not really. You have to rewrite it. So $11.99, and I'm going to do it up and down. $2.99, bless you, and $5.99. Okay, let's add those all together. Make sure you line up your decimal point. You guys can do the addition here. I'm not doing it for you.
Just on 9 minutes.
Huh? I know, but I had to check. So how much did you get as their total for their bill, basically? You got $21.97? Oh, good for you. Sorry, I guess I can't add. See, this is why I do things, to check to see if you guys are doing them right. Sure. Are you sure it's 21? 20. It's 20. I thought you guys said 21. You made me think that I couldn't add. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. $20.97. Then to figure out how much each person, each sometimes means divide, sometimes means multiply. Just it depends on the context. Then divide by 3. Okay, so if you divide this by 3. Hold on, I'm not ready, guys. Do you have to move the decimal place for this one? No, you only move the decimal place if it's on the outside. Okay, so bring your decimal place up. How many times does 3 go into 20?
6 times.
6. Bring that down. We have 18. 2. Bring down the 9. How many times does 3 go into 29? 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Left over 2. Bring down the 7. 9. So divide evenly. Each person will pay $6.99, which a lot of you already told me.
Wait,
I just had to check.
I'm not supposed to solve you?
You did solve. We're done.
Yeah, but
I don't know what you're asking me. Okay. Got it. Okay, next one. So the taxi costs $3.75 plus $40 per mile. If your total charge to get to the airport was $10.95, how many miles did you travel? Okay. Most of us, when we live in Fresno or Clovis, have any of you ever actually been in a taxi in Fresno? No. Yeah, no. You never take a taxi in Fresno, okay? Well, I guess you could, but rarely. So taxis are not, it's kind of a foreign concept to us because we just don't really ever use them. So if you were in like civilian like New York or like San Francisco, there's taxis everywhere, okay? Because people, it's so expensive to park your car there that they don't have cars. Like they take a taxi everywhere because they have to pay like $2,000 just to like have a parking space in San Francisco. It's crazy, okay? Like people don't really live in houses there. They live mostly in apartments, and most apartments, like they just don't have parking. So like you don't have a garage and stuff like that. So you take a taxi everywhere. So a lot of people do. So taxis, in case you didn't know, this is how they work. You have to pay a flat fee, and then you pay per mile. Okay. So this one it costs $3.75 to sit down, basically. Okay. You sit in the taxi, you pay $3.75. Then if you want to go somewhere, you have to pay 40 cents per mile. So $3.75 is what you start with, plus 40 cents per mile. So how would you write that? 0.40 per mile means you're doing what each mile? You're multiplying. So what variable would you like to use? Do we want to use M for mile?
No.
I like M for mile. You may choose whichever variable you'd like, but I like ones that make sense to me. M for mile. I want to know how many miles did you travel?
I thought it was like in the movies.
Equals
Pay.
$10.95. So if you went $10.95 miles, okay? How would you solve this?
You guys subtract stuff.
Start by subtracting. Is it okay to have decimal points in here? Yes, because it makes sense. We're talking about, like, change. Okay, so start by subtracting $3.75. So subtract $3.75. That leaves us with 0.40 M equals, if you subtract, what do we get? $7.20. Then how do I get M by itself? Divide both sides by 0.40. So I actually do want you to do the division. So 0.40 into $7.20. So what do you have to do whenever you have a decimal place?
You gotta move it.
Move it over 2 times. Bring up your decimal. So how many times does 40 go into 7?
7 or 8.
None. How many times does 40 go into 72? 2. 1. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm confused by math, obviously, today. Sorry. Okay, so 3, 2, bring down the 0. How many times did 40 go into 320? 8. Okay, 8 times 40 gives you 320. No remainder. So that tells you what? You went what?
18 miles.
18 miles. Okay, I do want you to start writing the descriptor there. Okay, so that just means, is it 18 miles? Is it 18 feet? Okay, I do want you to start writing the descriptor there. Okay, last one. Ellen has saved $65 for a vacation. She plans to save an additional $5 per week. How many weeks will it take to save a total of $125? So if you're starting with 65, this is 65 additional. So what does that mean we're doing with the 5? Adding. So plus 5. What variable do we want to use? W for weeks. And I want to figure out how long until she gets a total of 125. So where does the 125 go? Equals 125. Now, how would we start solving? Subtract the 65 from both sides. 5W equals 125 minus 65 gives you 60. Then divide both sides by 5. And that gives us W equals 12. So that tells you she has to save for 12 weeks before she can go. Okay, make sure that you wrote down your homework for this weekend. Okay, I will be collecting it on Monday. In your book, listen, in your book, you're doing page 133. You are doing numbers 1 through 9, 14 to 19, and 23 to 27. Make sure you write it down.